So you might have heard me say this before, but I've never seen a lot of dead people in cemeteries, in any cemetery. And I've been to quite a number of cemeteries. One exception, I had just gotten a convertible and I was taking it up in the mountains to just drive around on the hills and the curves and see what it could do. Um, as I'm halfway to where I need to be to get up into the mountains, my guide says, "Turn here." So I turned. I didn't know what was up, but I always know to listen to him when he says to do a thing. So I turned, and there were considerably more driving directions: turn here, turn now, turn left, until I found myself in a cemetery. I'd never been there before, never been to this one before. And I kid you not, and this sounds utterly insane, they had just laid new gravel. So maybe it's a function of just how new deep gravel works. But I had my car in second gear and it drove to the very back of the cemetery. This was not a straight line. There was a turn, turns. My car ended up stopping right in front of what looked like a really fresh grave. There wasn't even a headstone yet. And standing next to that was a woman, an African American woman, screaming at the top of her lungs. She was just screaming and screaming and screaming. And I sat there in my car for a minute and I got out and sort of walked up to her. And she stopped screaming and looked at me and she said, "Can you see me?" And I said, "Yeah. How can I help?" I knew her name was Dolores. "I can't be here right now. I've got a child. My, there, my child is with my mom. I don't know what to do. I can't be here right now. What do I do?" And I said, "Well, go to her." And she was like, "I could do that?" And I said, "Yeah." And like instantly she was gone. Out of curiosity, I went back. It was a long time later, a year or two later, and I was like, "Oh, I wonder whatever happened to her." Went back to the look at the headstone. There, it was a woman named Dolores. But by and large, I don't see a lot of dead at cemeteries. Again, not an expert, just telling you all the stuff I've seen over the last 30 years working with dead people. What I have noticed is after we die, go to our funeral, apparently. We go to the funeral, we go to the graveside service, we watch our burial, but then we spend the next bit of time with our families and the people that we love, visiting places that maybe we haven't been to in a long time. I had a friend who lost her husband, and she contacted me um, after the funeral. It was a little while, and she was like, "Can you see him?" And you might be surprised where I found him.